Yes. Hello? Oh, Sid's joining us. Let's put Sid on. Welcome. Welcome to the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions, and if you haven't figured it out, this is a virtual meeting. At the last minute, Paul discovered that Tequilas would be closed until tomorrow. So this is the second virtual meeting in a row. Last week I was in Phoenix, and this week we don't have a venue except the internet. How's everybody doing this morning?
What?
Everybody good?
Why are you hitting me?
We got that
Well,
on
it's
film,
snowing here.
Cheryl. Bill's being abused over on that side. So as always, every Tuesday at 10 we get together and discuss tech topics and try and help each other out with information and troubleshooting guide. I have included a couple of news articles I thought was interesting, and I restructured this a little bit. There's a couple of things that I've always mentioned, and I decided to stick them under reoccurring themes. That's at the bottom of the document, along with COVID procedures, which we haven't had to follow for a long time and hopefully don't need to again. But all that is stuck at the bottom of our document. And so if you follow along on the document, you'll find that stuff down here, reoccurring things. These are things that are just happening all the time. And down below that is protocols for in-person meetings, which I think we're probably following for in-person meetings simply because the restrictions have been loosened and laxed up now. So, though I have... Oh, go ahead, Judy.
Well, I just got this message that said lost network connection, which then when I reconnect, I'm on there twice, but now the one that I lost connection on is gone.
Yeah, I just saw that. You're
Yeah,
on
very
twice.
Yeah, very weird.
Is this you're on Telmex right now, right?
I am. I'm
Yeah.
on fiber optics right now, yes.
Yeah, so you wouldn't expect that to be related to something that's in your control.
No.
What's the most common thing about fiber optics in the home is you have internet or you don't have internet.
That's helpful.
Yeah, well, in between, like with the DSLs, there was just a slew of problems that resulted in you having sort of flaky internet. And there's just not a lot of problems that result in flaky internet with fiber optics because it
Right.
happens so far away from you.
I have noticed that even though it says my speed is good, it takes a long time sometimes to download an email with a tab, that has like pictures or something in it.
One of the topics I've brought with me today is I returned with more mesh network nodes for my Deco mesh network. So I had a 3-pack of M5s, which both Paul and Bill are familiar with, and I've been the test guinea pig for buying a different model Deco and adding it to my current mesh network. This is a Deco X55, and I bought a 3-pack of them. So I added 3 more nodes to my mesh network here at home. I bought these specifically because they support Wi-Fi 6. So I bought them thinking that I was future-proofing. Not something that I think that you folks need to worry about, but something I can do all the time because I'm working with equipment. And so I need to be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. So I bought it for that. But the main reason is because it got a longer range than the M5s, which if I can put my hand on it without disconnecting myself from the internet. This is the M5. See if I can get it in the camera. Difference between the two, same company, TP-Link, Deco Mesh Networks. One of the significant differences physically is there's 2 Ethernet ports available on this. There's 3 available on this one. if you are having to deal with cables, which I am just because of the lifestyle I live, I've got a lot of equipment that gets plugged in. And so I was just going to add these to my network. Well, my plan was, since these have a longer range and more antennas to work from, my plan was to replace my current main unit with one of these. And then in the house, I would place the other two of these strategically, and then I would put these M1 units in my kid's bedroom. So each kid would have their own access point in their bedroom. So I did that. There's a system in Deco's mesh network software that allows you to add a node fairly simply. So I just pulled it out of the box. I didn't follow the instructions that came with them. I just went into the app on my phone and said add node. I plugged this in, and I told it asked me what model node I was adding. So I looked for the X55, and I proceeded to set this up, and it added it as one more node in my network. So it was ready to be used, ready to be distributed, put in whatever corner wasn't working. I swapped the jobs over. There's a function in the Deco Mesh Network software that lets you choose a new master or a new main. I think the language they used is main. And so I was able to say I want to make this the new main, and it swapped it out for the one that I currently have feeding to internet. And I plugged this in. We lost internet, of course, during that time period. And I unplugged the other device and plugged this one in. And boom, I had the transition. My mesh network was now using one of these as the main node for the incoming and outgoing internet. So what I discovered was, though this is a newer model and it has newer technology in it and longer range features that I appreciate, they took away some of the parental control features that I was using in the previous mesh. And I think this is something we're going to be looking out for as we buy and build our consumer networks. These are business practices that are happening right now. I went through that process I just explained to you, where I added a node and I swapped it out to be the main. And what caught me by surprise was when it took over the job. And don't get me wrong, it took all of the settings from the other device. So my network has the same name, it has the same password, all the devices that are authorized. It took all of that. But because this is a different model unit, they've taken away some of the parental control units like weekend and daily bedtimes for my kids. And they stuck them into a package that I can purchase. So I upgraded my network and I lost features that I had grown. I all of a sudden had to buy these features back that I already had. And it's not a one-time fee. It's a subscription fee for these features. So I just wanted to make you aware that this is the way things are working now. Now, to make this even more interesting, I was curious if I had lost the features forever. The ones I described aren't the only features. There's a handful of things like being able to specify exactly which unit goes with, or which computer connects to which device. Let me give it a better example. If you had a smart TV in the living room on the wall, you wouldn't be moving it. And so one of the features that the M1 network had was I could say, always connect the smart TV to this particular node, because I'm not picking up the TV and moving it around, so it doesn't need the flexibility of floating between the different nodes like a laptop does. That feature's gone in this upgraded main unit. I imagine it is, if I paid the subscription, I imagine those features would come back as well. I to okay, going to finalize this thought, and it's just food for thought as we're building our own networks. And it caught me by surprise, so indubitably it would yeah, I imagined that the features that I was using was being provided um, as part of what I had purchased. So if I was going to add on to it, I would be continuing to use the same features. To prove this, I went ahead and reversed it. I set up the old M1 as the main again, and immediately had all my features back, with the ability to use these as extensions. So now I recognized that what I could do, if I wanted the hardware features of this one and the software features of the previous one, I could turn off the Wi-Fi on the previous one and run a cable between the two. And then this could be the main, but it would be operated through the original M1 main for those features. A bit of a hack to get back what I had before. The other thing that I realized before I even decided to switch it back, and this is food for thought as well, that I was trying to rectify performance issues within my mesh network. One performance issue in particular. We have a gaming console, an Xbox, that sits on the other side of the house, and occasionally I like to play video games in my office, and Microsoft has provided a way to remotely access your Xbox through your laptop. The game plays over there, but you interface with it over here. And the gameplay, because playing games requires a certain amount of bandwidth, whenever I did that activity, it was subpar. There would be freezing and frame delays, sound distortions, and times when you're trying to use the controller, but no commands are getting out. They would pile up, and then all of a sudden they would all execute. And I imagined that problem had to do with latency inside our mesh network. I'm going to buy some new nodes. I also wanted to do all this experimenting, and that's the reason I've done this. So I'm here to say that no one has experienced any better internet than they had before. With the new devices in place, with the longer range anticipated, nobody is having a different network experience. And the only one different network experience I'm having is that Xbox game experience, which none of you care about. You don't do that kind of stuff. But that it definitely improved latency in my network. And in that one use case, you see an increase in performance and user experience. That one particular use case. But my kids, they're still watching TV the same way they were watching TV. My wife is still watching TV the way she was using. Our smart devices are all working the same way they did before. It's like I did not upgrade the network. And so that is food for thought as well. Because what is obvious to me outside of the game, the Xbox game thing, which does matter to me, if that's what you're trying to get work, you're going to have to do something like this to provide that extra oomph. But it also tells me that if I'm having performance issues, it's not in my mesh that's the issue. It's down the line. It's got to be the way I'm doing internet that's causing the problems, the performance I'm looking for. Does anybody have any questions about my most recent experience with this new equipment?
No, but I have a related problem. When
Oh, please go ahead, Paul.
On Google Chrome, and I tried to do a Google search, it tells me TP-Link says that's a dangerous channel. It won't let me go out at all.
Oh, wow.
Every every address that I put in the search, it tells me that it's potentially dangerous. And I shouldn't go,
Did it just
even if it's
happen?
no. It's been like that for a couple of months.
Well, what I mean is, did it just happen out of the blue, or
Yes,
were
out of the
you
blue.
changing configurations? Because one of the things that comes along with these systems, though more rudimentary in the devices I just bought, is these parental controls that let you filter what
Oh,
websites are available to you. And when I
okay.
was playing with the limited configurations on my new device, I had to specify, or it asked me how old my children were. And then it automatically put together an algorithm of what it was going to filter for my children based on their age. And it was automatically selected for me. And I got in a lot of trouble with my kids because all of a sudden they couldn't do anything. I'm like, that's not what I was that's not what I was trying to accomplish, because my kids grew up as my kids and whatever how to do. This is not the way we've been doing internet. I'm not blocking them algorithmically. And so I had to go
Yeah.
and learn how to take control of that filter so they could proceed with what they were doing. Yes, Judy.
This censorship to me, and did you have to agree someplace to this as the parent, or was this just automatically put on by this mesh
Well,
network upgrade or
these
whatever?
parental controls that I used to determine bedtime
Uh-huh.
were part of the features that I bought originally.
Hmm.
And what bothers me the most, the one feature that bothers me the most, is that in the newer model, they've merged the two bedtimes together. There is a weekday bedtime, and it's such a silly, what a world we live in. This is first world problems, right? They have a bedtime for the days and a bedtime for weekends. So you can have two different times for the internet to be turned on and off.
Hmm.
And as teenagers, my kids need the internet turned off or they won't go to bed. And so the original unit allowed me to set different times for the weekends versus, and this new unit time, if you want two bedtimes or more options, you have to buy the subscription package. And that's really what I was complaining about. The features of censorship are given to me to use as a parent. Not that they were choosing anything. The only thing they were doing was trying to help me in determining what would be good to censor given their age group. If that makes sense. Is that Jim? Hey, Jim's with us too. This is a big virtual meeting we got going on. How you doing this morning? I was just talking about my mesh network upgrade and some of the things I discovered when I thought I was just going to be dropping nodes into my network, and the differences encountered. Again, I set it back to my original main unit, which means I don't get to key to this original M1 unit. And the disadvantage of that is that if I don't have enough nodes to provide another one in this office, then this office only has access to the traditional Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 5, the 2.4, 2.5. The range to the next node is shorter because this is the older technology. And the reason I've chosen to use this is because of those parental control features that I've come to like. And they're in this one. They're not in this newer one without paying a subscription fee. The newer one has Wi-Fi 6. It has more antennas, has a longer range. However, it doesn't have the features I want. And to reiterate, as I was saying before, if I wanted the best of both worlds, I would pay the money for both of them, and I'd plug a cable between this one and this one, keep this in the office, and then the rest of the network would just be the rest of the network, whatever it's doing. The point that I wanted to make was not only the loss of features because of an upgrade I decided to do, but also the subscription model that they've gone after, which you're going to run into more and more as you're dealing with equipment. It's going to be, yeah, you've got these basic things you can do, but if you want more, pay us monthly. But also the fact that the upgrade didn't produce any real performance for anyone in my family, and my use case of the video game console was the only one that showed a performance increase. Everyone else's use case is the same. The kids are doing homework, wife and kids are watching TVs in their respected rooms, surfing and watching YouTube videos and reading emails. All of that is, they cannot tell that I have upgraded the network. So any performance issues I'm looking for outside of that one use case of the video game kept my internet provider at this point. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. Has anybody, since there's so many of us, is there anybody there with their own topics they've brought to today's meeting? Otherwise, I can move on to some of the news I brought with me. Jim, Chester's got his hand up. Chester, what would you like to contribute?
Well, I want to contribute a damn good movie.
All right.
And it is called A Man Called Otto.
Oh, yes. I actually watched, this is a Tom Hanks movie, right?
Yep. And that is, it is a GP movie, but it is, I thought, very, very good and well done. If you haven't seen it, I'd certainly recommend it.
Yes. Where is it playing? Is it on Prime?
I think you can pick it up. I picked it up as a pay-per-view, but I think all of them, it's a 2022 movie, and so it should be on all of them by now.
Yeah, let's see, Just Watch. Where is on streaming? Where to watch A Man Called Otto?
Otto, O-T-T-O.
Apple TV. Oh. Nowhere to watch it for free. You got to rent it. Amazon, Apple TV, YouTube, Google Play, or as many of us say, Streamio. That must be where my wife and I watched it.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah, we watched it. It's a great movie. Jim, did you want to say something?
Just that I saw the movie and it's good.
Yeah, it's an easy one to recommend, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I enjoyed all the interaction between kind of a Latin culture and American culture, or old school American culture. Watching his neighborhood grow up, flashing back to his past. Jim Cunningham, I thought I saw a finger up. Did you want to say something? You're muted at the moment.
Yeah, on a total different question, I was just curious whether anyone has actually activated any of the AI add-ons to their search engines. You know, Google has come out with Bard. Microsoft has AI activated Bing, and I have not yet done that. And I was just wondering whether anyone else has, like you, Bill, or have any experience with that.
So what Jim's asking about is, we've talked a bit about ChatGPT, and it's been integrated into the Bing search engine. I've actually found the client in Skype. So if you're looking at the latest version of Skype, There is a Bing chat client in there that is powered by Chat GPT, and you can have that kind of chat conversation right there in Skype. I haven't used anything yet outside of going straight to the Chat GPT website and using their interface. In fact, I don't even think I've seen it in Bing yet, even though I've heard many people talk about it.
Yeah, it's there. If you open up,
I imagine Edge.
somewhere off the corner there says you can activate this.
Well, and if you are somebody that uses Opera, Opera has just added Chat GPT and another one that I'm unfamiliar with. I mean, we're like in this gold rush of AIs. They're just dumping them out onto the internet now. I'm trying to bring up... I've got Edge open right now, but I'm trying to get Opera to open for me because I'm trying to remember the AI. I'm probably overwhelming my computer. Here it is. CS. I don't think I set up the Chat Sonic. That's the one that. So they've put these two. If you can see my screen on the upper left, we're looking at Opera. Under the O, these have all been sidebar apps. Instagram and Messenger, and you can have that all in the sidebar app, and it's one of the main reasons I like Opera, is to be able to use it as kind of a communication central. But they've added these other two, Chat GPT, which I've set up with my Chat GPT account, and this other one called Chat Sonic, which I have not tried out yet. But this is how Opera has decided to integrate it into your regular use. And then they've also got, I guess my session has expired. They've also got a AI prompt up here in the address bar. It says AI prompts, and if you click on that, it gives you this kind of this way that it's taking what you're doing as kind of default prompts. When you talk to a chat AI, you talk to it in prompts. That's the language. The vocabulary is prompts. In fact, I like, on a side note, I keep preaching to my kids, this is the next short-time job. It's going to be for the next 5 years or so. People are going to specialize in writing prompts, and I think they should be paying attention to it, because there's going to be quick cash to be earned by people that are really good at talking to AI chat. And it quite literally is, how do you write the questions so you get the most robust information from it? And that's what Opera is trying to do here, is it's trying to guess what would be the most helpful prompt for the website that you're currently in. And then these bubbles, as you see on my screen, are things that you can click that will take you directly into the chat client. I need to sign in, but they take you directly into the chat client and you could expand upon that. So it suggests a prompt and gives you the ability to add it to your chat experience. And then at that point, you can expand on it. Interesting stuff. It's a good example of how they're taking these AI chat, these Chat GPT, what are they called? The language models, these large language models. And it's just scratching the surface. I mean, this you can really wrap your head around. That's why it's easy to demonstrate and show off. There's going to be some of this stuff that's actually much more impactful, that's going to be happening under the scenes. So you're going to, in the future, we're going to have these applications that are going to be making decisions, and the decisions that they make are going to be the same kind of thing, but it's choosing the default of the information in front of it, and then the information presented to you. And I'm talking generally, because I can't imagine it yet. But this is I see it on the macro scale. It's going to be happening in the background. You're going to be handing it information. It's going to decide what the prompts are. It's